This is a different voice, the one you were expecting to hear about 2 minutes ago. The reason being is I've had every technical issue under the sun, but we're here now. We're ready to get going for what should be an exciting race right ahead of us. But alongside me tonight is Icky Robbo, who's just taken you through qualifying, and I hope he's going to be able to give both you and myself a little bit more information before we get to lights out.
Yeah, I also had a lot of technical problems with my own, with Twitch unlinking and everything. But we have, if I remember, it is one of the kicks out was on pole. It's not Liverpool, it's the other one. Or as you can see now, and it's going to be 5 lights under. I hear in Jeddah, it's lights out the way they go. They won't help at all. Meeks has been given a drive-through penalty for a full start there. As Ultimate John is everywhere. Down his turn 1, failing. Leads from the incident in the back. That is Danger Winstone almost spinning round there, as there's lots happening on the first few corners. The Ultimate John and Malinsky going side by side through turn 4. The kicks out by getting ahead. Behind them, Dion is followed by Crazy, Mark Armstrong and Liverpool and Sven, and Danger Winstone and CWM have not had good starts whatsoever.
No, there's a number of drivers down the bottom who haven't had good starts. You look at EA, Real Cigar, Meeks and Sinwars all dropping 4, 4 and 5 positions respectively. Danger Winstone and CWM as well dropping 5 and 3 between each other. There could be a move here on for Felix on CWM as he goes wide, and Felix not quite able to hold it there. But yeah, failing, taking that lead on lap 1 of this Grand Prix off of Ultimate John, off of the line, and he's going to try and build that gap now. It's up to 8 tenths. Will he be able to increase that as he heads around now through Sector 3? It looks like Ultimate John's actually reeling him in. He might have the quicker speed through the corners, but that means that Failing is going to have the quicker speed down the straights, and so he should extend that advantage. There is an overtake in the end from Felix on CWM. He goes around the outside, and he does make that move stick in the end. So Felix up to 10th, CWM dropping to 11th, and the lead is the McLaren.
There's a Danger Winstone getting very close to the back of the Williams and the Kick Sauber at the moment. He's just eyeing up these two who are going to go side by side into turn 1. Sven versus Liverpool. Sven going for the wider line. It's a bit of contact as the Ferrari and Kick Sauber bang wheels, but Danger Winstone is going to go through on the both of them here, down the inside on the Williams. Bided his time, paid off excellently as he's made off 2 positions. But the downside of this is that he's gonna be the lead car of this DRS train from 7th all the way down to 11th. So he's going to be under quite a lot of threat as he's Sven just running wide there, and that actually has given Danger a lifeline there as the gap is now 1.2 seconds to Sven. So Danger Winstone getting very lucky now going through Sector 2.
Yeah, also apologies if you're getting a little bit of flashing there. I'm getting the flashing on my side. I'm not 100% sure why that's happening, but it's just adding to the list of tech issues we've got tonight. But regardless, we're still watching this battle for P8. Sven just coming under pressure from Liverpool. Liverpool could look around the outside, but Sven blocking that off. That opens up the inside line for Liverpool as he heads down the inside. Could he make the move? But there's a bit of a lag spike, and Liverpool gets sent off the circuit and now spun round by the other Williams. In the meantime, Ultimate John getting past, Failing back into the lead of this race. There's yellow flags out. It is for Liverpool, who dropped all the way down. That's unlucky for him because he was able to make those positions up early on. He now drops down to P13, fastest lap of the race for his teammate Ultimate John as he holds on to the lead. Dion and Crazy now fighting away in turn number 1. Crazy around the outside. Can he make this move stick? Yes, he can.
Just looking at all the tyres, everyone is starting on the medium tyres except for the lone Mercedes car of CWM currently in 10th. He is starting on the hards, so he's playing the alternate strategy while everyone is playing, well, I would say, the normal here. So he's going to need to keep in DRS here, keep in touch with the midfield, not drop too far back on those hards, and go a bit long and make a good comeback in the end. That's what he's not going to do, and he's also not going to want a safety car in these opening stages of the race, as tyre wear around this track is supremely low. You could probably get around all 25 laps just on the hard tyre alone. So if there is a safety car at any point in the first 10 laps, you might as well say goodbye to his race.
Yeah, I mean, it will be very, very easy for somebody to make it to the end on those hard compounded tyre. They are the hardest compound that we are able to take to this race. CWM, the only driver to start on them, and Sinwar swapping to the mediums after the first lap. CWM, by the way, just mentioning him, he gets past Sven and up into P9 now, so starting to make progress, but he's got 2 seconds up now to the other Williams just ahead as well. But the main focus is on the top 3 group, Ultimate John, Milionski and Failing. Crazy PP6 and Dion just behind, just out of that DRS range. But they could easily use that DRS just to get back in. They were about to fight into turn number 1, but the Ferrari staying ahead of the Alpine at the moment. The top 3 looking as though they've got the pace over the rest of the field. Ultimate John and Failing getting off to a good start, and Milionski being able just to drag himself back into this fight.
Yeah, Crazy and Dion in 4th and 5th. Going to need to play a bit of teamwork here, or try and get in DRS train, or Crazy could just pull this off at pure pace. He's gained a few temps in Sector 1. That may be looking towards a higher downforce setup for the Ferrari, but Failing now getting very close to the back of the Haas. He might be line up and move, but no, I think that's Milinski using a bit of ERS in the battery there for him, as Failing actually gets a 3-second time penalty already in lap 4. That is massive. He's not going to want to get any more track limits now, as a 3 seconds turn into 6 seconds under a bunch of DRS trains could be crucial.
Yeah, I mean, it's that double dose of DRS, just where they are now, and then round after the final corner, it could just really give the drivers the momentum that they will need. Milionski could be going for a move. He was quicker going up to the final corner, but he just sits behind, ready to make that move out of the final one. What a move that is. He just had the traction somehow on the exit just to make it through. Failing going through there, 3 wide as they head now down to turn number 1. Ultimate John getting through, Failing holding a massive inside line. Is he able to pull this one off? No, he's not. Milionski setting it around the outside. There's contact between the two, but the Haas finding his way through, and this brings Dion and Crazy back into the battle now. They are into the DRS. They are within half a second of those in front, and so this one has just opened right up.
Yeah, but Failing and Crazy are going to hope of getting 3-second time on his this way. Dion's gone wide, and they've made contact. Crazy and Dion making contact there. Dion trying to rejoin the track, and has gone straight into the side pod of the Ferrari there. He has been set very far back and maybe into the teeth of Danger Winstone, who's now closing up on him. I don't think there's any damage between the two, but that has set them both back off and back to the back down into before. So that was. I was going to say behind the DRS train. So all that work has been undone now.
Yeah, I mean, they are out of the DRS train. They did so well to get back into it, but Crazy now 2.4 seconds off. Dion a further 2.7. He's at danger, actually, of falling into the trap of Winston behind, who's just outside of the DRS. And then it'll be dropping down behind Mark Armstrong, possibly. So really not what he would have wanted. And now he's just going to try to fight his way back in. As Danger Winstone just 1.1 seconds behind. He is actually just about within the DRS, but he's not going to get it because of the fact that the detection zone was before the final corner. Fastest lap goes to Ultimate John as he heads out of the final corner, but that is a big kick of oversteer heading into turn number 3. That just really, really didn't help the Kick Sauber. And the momentum that he built up, he was actually over a second ahead of Milionski. That was his opportunity, and it's already gone to pieces. Failing, by the way, ruining his exit out of the final part of the S's, and he drops out of the DRS. That could be massive, especially with that 3-second penalty. Crazy and Dion also with penalties. Dion, the latest driver, to pick one up as well. They both got 3 seconds worth, and now it looks as though it's just going to be a 2-horse race for this race lead.
Well, you say that, but there's still 19 laps to go. And looking at how many track limit penalties they could get, the whole grid could get 3 seconds this race. There's 1 or 2 more track limits from both of these guys. It could blow the race wide open for the likes of Fading or even Crazy behind if he manages to catch up between all this squabbling between the front. As saying that, Milinski opening up the DRS of that Haskar. It's going to pull to the outside to go along side by side with the Kick Sauber. Gets ahead in the end, but the Kick Sauber is going to get the DRS back on him down the start-finish straight. where will Ultimate John go? He's got two options here. He can go left, he can go right. He's draining the ERS battery. He's got it on hot lap mode. He pulls to the left and easily gets ahead of the Haas. We're going to be seeing a lot of moves between Ultimate John and Milinski in this race. We're going to hope that those two keep it clean and don't hit each other too hard, spinning one off or possibly into the wall.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that, though, from Crazy and Dion. They just got too excited at that battle lap in the lead, failing, by the way, back into the DRS. So he's done an incredible job over the last lap, actually, to get back into it. But, yeah, they just need to not trip over each other now. That is the main issue that they would have, is that they trip over each other and they have issues and they crash into each other. Ultimate John, 0.8 seconds ahead of Milionski. He looks as though he's the quickest driver on this field so far, but we know that the Haas also is able to hang his way up there. Well, he's up there after 7 laps of this Grand Prix, just over a quarter of the way through, and he's still been able to hang it there with the quickest of the lot around here, failing as well, managing to get his way back into the DRS, showing that he might be one of the quickest. He might just be preserving at the moment, or maybe it's just about avoiding those mistakes for him. With that DRS, now that he's managed to gain back in, he was 0.8 behind Milionski as they head up to the final corner. Milionski just 1 behind Ultimate John. That is the gain that you'll get from the DRS. And, well, surprise, surprise, he gets another dose as they head down the main straight. Now, there should be another overtake. It should be another regulation overtake for the Haas. Is Ultimate John going to allow him it? He's not. He's going to try and fight him around the outside. Still sticking it with him. And Milionski wobbling the exit of turn number 1. Reopens the door and through goes Ultimate John. P1 is back in the Kick Sauber's hands.
And these lots still fine, but Crazy is just dropping a couple tenths a lap here. So he's going to hope that these guys keep on squabbling, or hopefully squabble more as they do, because it's not looking likely for Crazy to rejoin these top 3 in their little DRS train. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. That is Liverpool. He's stopped in the pit lane. That's a virtual safety car. He's gone straight on the pit entry into the wall. You can see debris there from his front wing. He's got none left. That is a virtual safety car as he retires from the session. Don't exactly know what's happened there.
Well, it's quite a difficult pit entry there. It's quite a difficult pit entry there with the little swerve you have to do, and I think Liverpool's just missed it. The virtual safety car allows the drivers to close up, failing in Milionski actually closing up to Ultimate John quite a lot, so I think he might be struggling with the delta there. Well, we'll have to wait and see. They don't want to get a drive-through penalty. Has anyone picked one up? I don't think they have. Sinwalls has come into the pits, but other than that, everyone is green flag and going. With Ultimate John actually nailing that restart. 9 tenths now ahead of Milionski. And 5 tenths back further to failing in third. The top 3, big gap, but Crazy actually only 2.1 seconds behind, so he's gained about 8 tenths.
He's gained a couple there, but Crazy looks to gain a couple tenths through sector 1 as the leading pack start to charge their ERS through that sector and then deploy it all in sector 2 and 3. What I have been noticing is that Danger was in DRS detection point of Dion in 5th, and Mark Armstrong has just been keeping behind Danger Winstone for these past 5 laps, just sitting behind the Ferrari, possibly waiting for him to make a mistake as he's gone a bit wide, and that's offset his exit there, and he's going to lose a few tenths. Actually, he's lost a lot of time to Danger Winstone there. He's actually dropped out of DRS, and Danger's been put into the DRS of the car ahead.
Yeah, so the Alpine not doing great over the last lap, which means that Danger Winstone, who actually, it may have just been the pace of the Ferrari because he, as you mentioned, he did pull away from the Aston Martin behind him, and he will have the DRS as they come over the next detection point. And yeah, he's just going to try and close up. I mean, Dion hasn't really had that pace. I believe he's got front wing damage after the collision he had with the other Ferrari earlier on. But this would be a great result for the two of them if they're able to get through on Dion. Move, by the way, for Milionski. He seems to have incredible straight line speed as opposed to Ultimate John, and he's used it to full effect as he gets past into P number 1. DRS, though, will be open once again as they head down the main straight for Ultimate John. Not for failing, though, who comes into the pit nice and cleanly this time. And he is the first of the leaders to pit. Ultimate John sending it to the inside. Milionski allowing him that position. Failing coming into the pits, as I mentioned, he's going to come onto a set of the hards, and he's going to stay in on a set of the hards until presumably the end of the race. Crazy coming in as well. He's going to strap a set of the hards on, and they're going to try and get an incredible outlap. Also as well, Felix coming in. There's an issue now with a couple of people not wanting to go for the stack. So maybe Sven and Danger Winstone had to wait just another lap because their teammates were too close to them. Danger Winstone, by the way, all over the back of Dion, but a slide on the exit of the S's means that he's not going to be as close as he would have liked. And he's just going to try and keep attacking the dirty air, though. Will cause a little bit of problems, a few little problems for the Ferrari as they head now through the windy, twisty Sector 2. But then afterwards, he'll get the DRS, and I'm sure that he's going to be able to blast past.
Speaking of DRS, Milinski has really overtaken Ultimate John for the lead with the DRS, and these two are going to really need to work together and push their cars to the limits in order for Phelan to not get ahead of them, as the undercut here can prove to be quite powerful around this track, especially through the twisty turns, but the DRS might just be able to level both of them out. As are they going to come into the pits? Milinski, is he going to come into the pits? Yes, both of them are. The Haas and the Kicksauber into the pits as well. Look behind to Danger, who actually just overtook Dion there. They're both going into the pit lane, and Mark Armstrong actually staying out. Interesting strategy from the Aston Martin, as we should expect a lot more people to box now to cover off from the undercut from the drivers behind who have just pit. And speaking of that, no, Sven and Anand both staying out. A lot of drivers actually staying out for a couple more laps on the medium tyres. As we'll switch to the front now, Milinski has actually stayed ahead of... Oh, actually, no, sorry. Ultimate John hasn't boxed. What am I saying? He hasn't boxed. He stayed out, sorry. That's completely... I thought he went in, but oh well. As Ultimate John leads now, and Milinski has stayed ahead of Phelan, so he's managed to keep the position. On top of, he has an extra lap of tyre wear from the McLaren behind.
It could play into huge advantages. There's yellow flags out. That's Meeks out of the session. That is a virtual safety car, last second of the race. Surprisingly, it's not a full safety car as he's crashed in Sector 1, which is incredibly tight. So it is a surprise that is not a full safety car. But if it's able to stay neutralised for a long time, this could play into the hands of Ultimate John and Mark Armstrong behind him, as they will be able now just to get into the pits, to change their tyres and to come back out ASAP. Ultimate John around the final corner. You'd think that he's going to pit on this lap anyway, and he's just going to get really lucky with that virtual safety car. But as you may say, you make your own luck, and he took that gamble to stay out. And now he does come into the pits. He's going to do 13 laps on those hards, which are going to be 1 lap younger than Milionski's, 2 laps younger than Failing. So this could massively play into his hands. Ultimate John switching on to the hard compound of tyre. Mark Armstrong will be doing presumably the same thing as CWM comes down to the first corner. He will take the lead of the race as we're back to green flag racing. The Mercedes is actually going to pull out side by side with Ultimate John, who is going to get easier on the traction. Ultimate John's tyres are colder but softer, and he is able to get through. P1 is going to go back to the Kicksauber, and you'd think that is game, set, and match now.
Yes, it is, and thankfully for Mark Armstrong as well. He's actually been, I think he might just be brought into this little battle between Danger Winstone, Sven, and Dion. Dion might actually be held up by the P7 Williams, as he's on those 11-lap-old mediums. And that Williams is not going to have as much traction and grip as those fresh, new, hard tyres. As yet, Ultimate John now really pulling away from the Mercedes. The gap is already 1 second, and he doesn't even have DRS at all. Ultimate John, 4.6 seconds ahead of the McLaren in net P2. And you could say, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, as long as he doesn't bottle it here, he's got the race win in his hands.
Well, we've seen mistakes from Failing and CWM. I haven't seen many from Milionski so far this race, but that's the main reasons that they've not been able to keep up with Ultimate John, with them making actually the same mistake out of Sector 1, just riding that curb too much and then going straight on, having to cut the corner. And that was one of the reasons for Failing's penalty. Dion makes his way past Sven, could be making his way back past, could Sven, as they head into the final corner, but just not enough traction and could actually come under threat from the new hard runner, Mark Armstrong, who pulls to the inside line. Down to turn number 1 now. He could make this move stick, and indeed he is going to. He could be even looking down the inside of Dion, but no, Dion moves in, and he's just tucked in for now, although that move could be made very soon with Dion out of the DRS of Danger Winstone. 1.3 seconds between the Alpine and the Aston Martin. Ultimate John building up an even bigger gap over CWM now as Fleming retires from the session. On track, I believe that is. So that is wonderful. We'll see as Sinwars comes round. We'll see if he's still moving as a car, as there's yellow flags out. Yeah, I believe that might be something to do with lag, because he was just driving into the wall, but I'm sure we'll see in the stewards' reports. But Felix moves past Sven in the meantime. The two Williams swapping for 9th and 10th. Sven still hasn't come into the pits. The three who haven't come into the pits, Sven and EA Real Cigar, who are still going on those mediums, and then CWM, who sits there on those hards.
Yeah, Sven has really played his part in that midfield battle between Danger Winstone, Dion, and Mark Armstrong. Sven being in the middle of the Ferrari and Alpine has actually allowed Danger Winstone to pull out quite a good amount, but Dion is closing up on Danger on the hard tyres. There's a bit of opposite roles here. On the mediums, it was Danger catching up to Dion. Now it's Dion catching up to Danger. The gap is just over a second now. He's going to be in the slipstream here. And as long as Dion keeps it cool, calm, and composed, and hopefully can get within DRS in this lap, and we can possibly see some racing action between these two.
Yeah, you'd hope so. With the gap coming ever smaller as Dion 3-second time penalty. You can see how much he's pushing to try to catch up to Danger Winstone now. Crazy as well, picking up another 3-second. Interesting actually to look at the penalty situation. Even we've just had a look at the tyre situation. 3 seconds for failing Milionski, Danger Winstone, Mark Armstrong, and then 6 for Dion and Crazy, and 9 for EA Real Cigar, who's just hoping for a safety car now to try and sort out his race as he's sitting outside of the top 10 on an old set of mediums that will surely be screaming out with pain now. Looking further up, failing is in the DRS now. CWM, he's going to try and slingshot using that slipstream out of the penultimate corner and out of the final corner as well, just to try and get up to Ultimate John as close as he can. The gap will be about 6 seconds between first and third as we head around the final corner, as Sinwars becomes the latest to pick up a penalty. Yes, so DRS for failing. Down the main straight, he's going to hold that slipstream. He's going to pull to the inside line. Is he even going to make this move before turn number 1? Indeed he is, but he's going to leave it late to tuck across, and that will compromise his exit. That means that CWM will still be within range of failing, but we'll have to wait and see. Dion getting past Danger Winstone, who's giving him a right old fight into turn number 1. But Dion with that traction on the exit, he's able to make the move, the Alpine, up into P6.
Yeah, just been looking at Milensky in the Haas series. Failing's really started to put the pace together and starting to gap Milensky by, say, about 3 or 4 tenths a lap. And Milensky's pace on the hards hasn't looked all that great, because Crazy in the Ferrari behind now actually is within DRS range of the Haas. We could see Crazy here, because I'm pretty sure these two. Oh no, let me just have a little look. Crazy on 6 seconds, Milensky on 5. So how about Crazy could pile up the pressure on the Haas and hopefully for him try and get him another 3 seconds for track limits, so this fight can go to be for on track position. As the Ferrari just staying behind for now, and maybe trying to build up more ERS with the help of the DRS and the slipstream. Well, no, I think he's going to go for it. Down the inside, goes Crazy up into 4th position. The Ferrari engine car is going side by side, but in the end, it is Crazy making the move done. It's now going to get to the final detection zone of the lap. It is going to be Milensky with the DRS. Which way is he going to go? He's going to go right. He's going to pull to the right, to the outside. He gets the move done, and he's going to lead lap 16 ahead of the Ferrari in P3 as CWM does finally pit for the medium tyres, as he's got a lot of work to do to get back up on the field.
It's been a long time coming for CWM coming into the pits. but those mediums are going to be ripe at the end of the race to still attack. They're not going to have a fall-off period like Sven's and Cigars probably did. Sven coming in actually for the softs. He's going to try and do 9 laps on them, so that'll be a very, very interesting idea, and we'll see if that comes off. I think he'll be going more for fastest lap than anything else, for glory rather than... No, for pride rather than for glory even, is what I meant to say. But looking further up, somebody who's looking for glory rather than pride is Crazy, who's still right behind Milionski, and these two are still going hammer and tongs, despite the fact that there's a 6-second penalty heading Crazy's way. There's another 3 seconds, up to 12 now for Cigar, down in P10, so he will fall into the clutches of Anand and Sven and fall all the way back down to P12. Sven actually has those softs right behind Anand. Crazy looking like he's got a better set of tyres because he's just somehow got so much more traction out of that corner than Milionski, and that allows the Ferrari to make that move. He's up into P3, he's up into the podium positions, and with that penalty, if they keep fighting, if it stays as it is, then Crazy has this one nailed on. No, not even him. Sorry, Milionski was the one with the 3. Crazy was the one with the 6. But now Crazy able to apply that pressure onto the Haas car and try to force maybe a 3 second to be dragged out of him. A 3 more second as Dion, Danger Windstone, swapping once again into turn number 1. Mark Armstrong looking around the outside, but just not getting that traction on Danger Windstone as they head out. Now Crazy fighting back ahead of Milionski. An impossible move there in Sector 1. But he's made it stick. Now, is he able to keep it as they head out of Sector 1? They certainly are. And Milionski will just be trying to use that straight line speed that we've seen him have so far this race to full effect. Looking around the outside of Crazy. Can he hang one in there? He's hanging a wheel in there. But that straight line speed has sacrificed the corner speed. And Crazy just holding on to P3 for the time being. He'll be quicker in Sector 2, so expect him to hold on to it. But Milionski will be quicker in the final.
Yeah, well, the gap to Ultimate John and Phelan out front is, well, pretty much now 11 seconds. This is turned into an act of dominance from Ultimate John in the kick Sauber. No way you see that in real life in actual Formula 1 in 2024. But now at 11.5, including that track limit penalty, as we'll run aboard with the hat of Milinski in 4th, still behind Crazy. He knows if he keeps this on track, keeps it clean with the Ferrari, his podium is almost certain, as the gap behind is 5.4 seconds to Dion, who's in a fight of his own with Danger Windstone and Mark Armstrong, as Milinski going to pull to the right here. Maybe deploying, maybe not, but I don't think he has to here, as he uses the DRS to its maximum effect, gets past the Ferrari back into 3rd place, as there's a few positions swapping further back in the midfield, as Danger Windstone in the sister Ferrari getting past Dion in the Alpine, and Mark Armstrong yet again, as he was doing with Dion. Is Dion going to... Ooh. Dion did think about making the move down the inside in turn 4. Very risky move to get through there. It's very easy for cars to come into contact with that inside wall and possibly losing a tyre or spinning round. As Mark Armstrong, yeah, just like he was before with Dion, just sticking behind these two, watching them fight, playing the patient game, waiting for his time, waiting for his moment. We'll see what he can do as the final 7 laps unfold.
Wow, there's only 7 laps left. It feels as though it's gone by in a flash. Sven is attacking Anand down in P11. Anand actually putting up a pretty decent fight to stay ahead. Rowley coming in chat saying, nice racing. They're very careful so far. I mean, they are very careful, but you have to be careful around Saudi Arabia, especially when you're not particularly confident with the track. The only ones I've really seen getting their elbows out are Crazy and Milionski, and obviously those two that came together earlier on. I believe it was it Crazy and Dion? I think it might have been. Looking now as there's another move involving Crazy down the main straight, but this is Milionski getting back past. They're working together very well, but they're not making the inroads that they would have needed to on failing. Another move for another Ferrari, and it's another move down as Dion gets through. And Anand still putting up a fight against these drivers down here. He's been able to get past Cigar, who needs to come in some point soon. Otherwise, those mediums are they're just going to explode. He's the only driver not to have pitted now as they come on to 18 laps of use. And we'll see how this goes. 3 seconds more for Danger Windstone That will take his total up to 6, and that will level up with Dion, which means Mark Armstrong, if he just stays where he is, will be taking a very, very easy P5.
Yeah, crazy actually. Almost running into the back of Milinski there, maybe getting a bit too much speed through the final corner of Sector 1. And what I've also noticed that Milinski has lost his front left end plate. He has front wing damage. I don't know exactly when he got it, but that's really gonna hurt his time through Sector 1. As I think Crazy Head just tapping the wall a bit through turns 19 and 20. It's going to be Milinski with the DRS once more, as we've seen so many times already this race. These two have been going at it ever since, or for like the past 5 laps now. Or is there a gap for that? No, there isn't. He thinks better not to try and squeeze his car through that gap, as he's going to now use that opportunity to make a move to the right-hand side of the Ferrari to go back into P3. And with that penalty, he still remains in P3. Crazy. Just has slot behind these guys. We got Dion making a move on Danger Winston back up into 5th, as Mark Armstrong still again just sitting behind these two. Felix now has joined the battle, and I think we can definitely see CWM enter this battle in a few laps' time. He is gaining on these guys.
Yeah, get your predictions in the chat. We've already got a few predictions, but for Japan, so just roll it back a bit. We've still got a bit of Saudi Arabia to go. We've still got 5 laps of Saudi Arabia to go. And as mentioned, there could still be a safety car, and Chris could fraud himself a podium here. We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, the battle for the podium is Crazy against Milionski. Crazy, he's still fighting away. He still has hope in this race that Milionski will pick up a penalty, or that he will be able to remove that penalty with the post-race stewards. We will have to wait and see. But the Ferrari still feeling confident that he can fight for something in this race. Milionski almost going for a move there, just tucking back in and staying behind, waiting for that DRS to make the move. And he will make this relatively easily because of that straight line speed he's got. Looks to the outside. Does Crazy cover, or does he just allow him through? It would mean that he gets the DRS, but he's going to brake late and stay ahead, trying to get the traction on the exit. But what an exit Milionski could have had if Crazy hadn't got in the way. Crazy was just going around the corner on the normal racing line. Milionski tried to go aggressive, and it did not pay into his favour, but he gets past on the main straight now, and with no front left end plate. This is going to be a very, very nervy final 4 laps, racing against Crazy, who I don't believe has any damage. We're going to watch as he goes past. No, he doesn't. So the Ferrari should have the advantage, but Milionski at the moment still fighting with him.
I don't think there was any moves further back in this little fight between Dion, Danger, Mark, and Felix. All those 4 remaining in the positions they were the last lap. As CWM, I don't actually think is really approaching these guys, but the thing we've got to watch out for CWM Mercedes, he doesn't have any time penalties, while the 4 ahead of him do. So he could potentially rise up a few places here, maybe get himself a P7 finish on those mediums. But hopefully, from the commentators and racing perspective, we can see him get into the action from these 4 ahead and see what they can do. As Milinski and Crazy Head swapping positions once more as we go into the fast left-hander. Oh, I think Crazy Head just got a bit wide. Maybe might have got a warning. Not too sure there, but I think he's just gonna keep behind. His car's flashing there. I don't think he's using any ERS as yet. He proves what I said to be right. He stays behind the Haas, and he's gonna use all his ERS here to get past Haas back into P3 for lap 22 of 25 of this Grand Prix. 4 laps to go.
4 laps to go, and you've got to say these two have put on a spectacle under the lights here in Jeddah. They've just been dinging and donging across the last 20-odd laps. Despite the fact that Crazy has a penalty, he's still fighting away, and complete respect to him. Danger Winstone and Dion fighting away. Mark Armstrong and Felix. Felix did pull out to the outside, but does tuck back in. His hards are just 2 laps older, which at this point doesn't make too much of a difference. So you should be seeing, as he's pushing Mark Armstrong through the first sector, 3-second time penalty for CWM, for Dion, and through goes Felix on Mark Armstrong. Finally, he felt as though he was so much faster, and he's gotten through. 1.1 seconds between Danger Winstone and Dion at them in the meantime. So Dion has dropped out of the DRS, so that fight is more or less over, unless Dion's able to fight his way back in, and it looks as though his cornering speed is a little bit better at the moment. So he's managed to just about tuck back in. Felix and Mark Armstrong sitting in there as well in that DRS. So the fight for 6th place is certainly not over. It could come down to penalties right at the end. And Felix and Mark Armstrong in great positions for that with Dion and Danger Winstone with 9 and 6 penalty seconds respectively. Crazy and Milionski, I mentioned they were having a great fight. It will continue on lap 23, what is about to be lap 24 of this Grand Prix, I believe, as Crazy looking to defend. Milionski trying to get that inside switch back, unable to, but he's just going to make the move anyway. Why not down the main straight with all that overspeed? Crazy trying to use a little bit of ERS to get back past, but he's going to have to sit behind another move down for another Ferrari. Dion getting ahead of Danger Winstone, so he did a good job to get back into the fight. Felix going for the switchback move, unable to make it stick without the traction on the exit, but he's still scaring Danger Winstone, trying to force a mistake out of the Ferrari. But at the moment, he's just going to have to sit line astern.
Yeah, Minsky and Crazy have got to make sure they don't topple over each other too much here, because Dion only rests 1.4 seconds behind these two. So as long as these two don't make any moves going side by side around corners, not making any risks which slow each other down, hopefully those two should keep ahead in their own little fight, because they do not want to make their fight a 2-car fight into a 6. So these two, actually saying that, Dion does have DRS here. This separate fight has now merged together. We've now got a fight here from 3rd all the way down to 8th. As we look to CWM, he doesn't look like he's able to make the efforts, as he's trying to drop off from these two behinds as he gets a little squirmy going out of turn 20 there. His rear's just sliding a bit. I've got to say, for Ultimate John, 13.4 seconds ahead on track, 16.3 seconds ahead with penalties. 2 laps to go. He can't mess this up now.
It's absolute domination from Ultimate John, and you felt as though that would happen pretty much as soon as he took the lead. He just felt as though he was going to hang on to it, despite the fact he was under pressure, well, as much as failing was able to run him close earlier on. The mistake out of Sector 1 just demonstrates how small the margins are in racing, because he made one mistake and that dropped him all the way down to now 14 seconds behind 16 or 17 with those penalties, 16.9 if you're going to be specific. So yeah, just one penalty could have a massive knock-on effect. Rolly coming into chat. Ultimate John apparently, as down the inside, I'll finish that point in a second. Crazy goes back through on Milionski. There is a fight on here for this P3. Dion, Danger, Winstone, Felix, and just about not Mark Armstrong, but it could be very, very soon. Back into the DRS and back, ready to fight for this final podium place on track. But Rolly there saying that this could be, or probably will be, Ultimate John's final X4 race. Milionski going for the move into the final corner. He could be, or not the final corner, one of the final corners of the circuit, but an incredible switchback from Crazy. Wow, what a defensive maneuver from the Ferrari to stay ahead and make me not make my point once again. Dion down the inside of Milionski, down the inside of Crazy as well. The Alpine into the fight and into the lead of this battle. It's a 5-car battle as we head onto the final lap of this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
And Militsky trying to make it past 1 car. Can he make it past 2? He's been boxed in by the Alpine and the Ferrari. So there's this contact between Crazy and Dion. Both of them sliding, and that has allowed Militsky to get back into this. All 5 of these cars absolutely going for it, because they've got 3 seconds, 6 seconds penalties between these guys. They're 5. That's an end plate. That's Dion. I think Dion's got front wing damage. He's hit the wall there. Yeah, Dion has damage to his front right end plate, and that has put him down. That has put Felix up into P5, who's gone wide. And all sorts is happening through Sector 1, as Felix is 1.3 seconds behind, and Crazy is trying to make a move on Dion, which he does. They bang wheels a bit. Dion getting very close to the wall there. As I've got to say, for Ultimate John, it's been absolute dominance for him. 15.4 seconds up the road. It's going to be 18.4 seconds now, coming through the final corner. Called it.
The Kick Sauber taking this victory. Sorry, I've stolen that from you. But Ultimate John taking that victory at the end of the race. I wanted you not to die on main comms, so I'll just let you do your own thing. Failing will be taking that second place, a very well-earned second place. And then I don't know who's going to end up taking this third. I think it's going to be Milionski on track, possibly off track as well. Danger Winstone will have the DRS, but he's not going to get quite close enough. It might even be a photo finish. Not quite. Felix in P5. Crazy in P6. Mark Armstrong taking P7 home after there was issues on the final lap for the Williams, but he's come home to get a very, very good P4. CWM with a very quiet P6. And Crazy after the penalties down to P7. Then it's Mark Armstrong, Dion, with all those penalties applied. He also had issues on the final lap. And then 32 seconds back to the final finisher in the top 10. It's Anand. Then it's Sven, Reelsagar, and Sinwars is the final finisher.
Felix really getting it all out there in chat. P16 to P4. Very good drive from the Williams to get up there into P4. One away from the podium position, but I'm sure he's happy as he is with that P4 finish. Don't think he expected to be there, as yes, everyone does score points. The top 15 here in the ExA do score points, so there's a lot to be handed out from the races. So it's as long as you don't retire, you're practically scoring points. So it's all about survival here in this league.
Yeah, that was certainly a race of attrition. Saudi Arabia, such a difficult circuit to get right at the best and the worst of times. And Felix, driver of the day, P16 to P4, fully deserving. But I think we all know that there's an even stronger contender for driver of the day. And I'd argue that he's my driver of the day. It's the Kick Sauber. It's Ultimate John. Presumably his final race in X4 because of the absolute domination that he has brought right here in Jeddah tonight. And the Kick Sauber taking that victory. And it was very, very well deserved as well. But a pretty strong performance. Saudi Arabia, considering it's Saudi Arabia, very, very strong performance from all. Because, you know, it's so difficult to get it right. Ultimate John taking that victory ahead of Failing, whose fastest lap was 7/10 slower than Milionski. So that is the definition of the race of attrition there. Then it is Felix, Danger Winstone, CWM, who actually had a fastest lap, only 2/10 off Ultimate John. Then it's Crazy, Mark Armstrong, Dion, and Anand rounding out the top 10. Then it's Sven, Sinwars, and Reelsagar, the final finishers and the final points finishers as well, with Fleming, Meeks, and Liverpool not finishing the race.
Yeah, good race from everyone. Oh, I can't really see the leaderboard at the moment because I've just got a black screen, so I'm just going to have to go off the screen for now. But, never mind, it's gone. I thought it appeared, but that was just it going back to the lobby. But yeah, good race for everyone. Very good racing. We only really saw contact between the drivers about 2 or 3 times. So it was much better than the X2 race I did, that's for sure. Very good, respectful racing from these X4 boys, and we'll see them next time this week in Spain. Oh no, Japan, sorry. Why did I say Spain?
Close enough. But
I like the opposite side of the world.
It is going to be a very good season if these driving standards are anything to go by. But yes, so we will see you in Japan, not Spain next week. Spain is a month away today. So join us for that. Join us as well for the other streams that we've got going on. We've got, X1 is underway on Wednesday. I'm very excited for that. So join me and join Rio for that on Wednesday as well. Join us for the other tiers as well. There's 2 other tiers in the middle of X4 and X1, with Tuesday and Monday being the host days. So we've got 4 days straight of racing action. We've kicked it off tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.